interesting about your movie, why I made a curator's pick of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. Community, heart, you're doing it.
Welcome to the Film Review, movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. Each week, the husband and wife team take you on a discussion on culture in movies, music, politics, and society. Brought to you by LordlandFilms.com. So get ready for this week's The Film Review.
What's going on, people? This is The Film Review. We are the husband and wife team that review movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And welcome to the Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, and society film magazine.
What's going on, people?
Hey.
This is the Film Review. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And we review movies, music, culture, politics, and society. And do we have a special one for you today, especially for the Black History Month? That's right, because we're in Black History Month. And so this is a special one. You know, we would have come on earlier, but we've been making much history here at Lordland Films. And we're here to talk about it a little bit before we get on some of the topics of the day that are going on. So let's first say, welcome to the Film Review. When you see the hashtag BHM2019, that's from us, Black History Month 2019 going on. You know, for our people who are on the East Coast right now, you're seeing us you're seeing us later. You're seeing us at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's already February 2nd, but we had 2 minutes left before February 1st left. So we decided we would come on and talk to you for a minute during that time. So let me do some population real quick, and then we'll be ready to do this here. So as we go on and we talk about Black History Month, it's very important to know that...
Hey, Shani.
It's very important to know that Lordland Films is here to make sure that our people are seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated. So we do Black History Month 365 days a year. Let me turn this down a little bit. So we do that 365 days a year. So we want you to enjoy this show, and we're going to be populating a little bit, so it's going to be, let me put this right here inside Lordland so people know that we are there, publish. And then if you're on, make sure that you pass it through to other people, you know what I'm saying, populate it onto your pages, let them know that we're on. Okay, so this is what we're talking about today. The Film Review. Movies, music, culture, politics, and society film magazine debuted February 1st for Black History Month on Instagram.com/CrazyDFilmDude/channel. So, or in other words, go to IG and type in Crazy D Film Dude. Once you get to the main site, then click over to the channel, and you can watch the first 2 episodes of the Film Review, movies, music, culture, politics, and society, and film magazine. So this is no paper, because you know the printing press was a 1440 invention. 1440. That's when that was invented. So that means that if we're looking at magazines today, we're still looking at something that was invented in the 15th century, right? We're now in the 21st century, and we should be looking forward to the 22nd century. So what we do now is digital, and we do moving pictures, not just just not just still pictures, but moving pictures. Because a still picture is worth 1,000 words. A moving picture is worth 1 billion words. So we want to say that right there. So that's the first thing we want to say. Let me go here real quick. Put this in different places.
Watching the news. Every day is something new.
Every day is something new.
Now with the governor in Virginia.
The governor in Virginia. We want to talk about that.
Blackface and Klansman photo on his Facebook.
His yearbook.
Yeah,
I don't think he had Facebook back then.
No,
if he had Facebook, he would have
been. I thought it was posted on
Facebook.
Facebook.
They did.
Yeah, I thought it was posted on Facebook.
But I'm telling you, it is something.
Yeah.
Because racism has never really ended. And it's funny that why would they release this on February 1st?
Oh, Black History Month.
Like they waited until Black History Month. They thought that, black folks would be up in arms. And really, what's happening is...
Not surprised.
Not surprised. Like, we know that people are bigots. You know what I'm saying? There's still Dixiecrats. There's people who didn't move over. You know what I'm saying? We realize that.
Shanine says it's all over Twitter. Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's sad. It's a sad case of, people thinking they can get away with things that they did. Black History.
I don't know, where does one find the time to just
stand around in blackface
and be negative and hate, a group of people? Or it's not enough time for me in the day to do anything. Like, if you're a busy person living a constructive life, you don't have time for silliness. Or when you are socializing, you're genuinely socializing, hanging out, having a good time, spending time with your family and friends, and not thinking about hating on any group. So it's just weird. It's mental illness is what it is.
It's mentally ill. Yeah, he's definitely.
Shanine says we don't care anymore. The governor is one big Klan meeting. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I think that
the government. Okay, she said the government is one big Klan meeting. Okay. Yep.
What they don't realize is what they're doing in the government is most black folks are, pretty much realize that this is a battle for the soul of America, and it's a battle between two factions of white folks. And really, all you have to do is just sit that out. We're not going to be all up in arms, though we're going to have people who speak out about it. We're not going to be all up in arms over somebody dressed in blackface. They always wanted to... Blackface, when you know the history of blackface, you realize that it was broke white actors that could not make money unless they tried to act like people who had rhythm, basically. And I mean, so that's when you look at it. Thanks for emulating something or trying to make it a bad stereotype, but we don't care about that. I mean, not in 2019. What we're worried about is making sure that people don't fool us like we were fooled over 10 years ago.
Shanine says blacks haven't done anything to them. They are just an inferior group who are jealous and insecure.
Oh, interesting. Interesting, Shanine.
I mean,
So listen. We had a film review, and we have morphed into February, and we are now the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, and society film magazine. So we have different segments. Like we of course review film, and we talk about political situations that are happening, what's going on in the society, and of course we just debuted our first music segment, which features FCC music group, right? That's Miles Lowe, Vic Smith, and Noise, who is actually government name Miles Martin. He is the producer of the group, and then Vic Smith is one of the MCs, and Miles Lowe is another MC. They just finished performing. Like, they had a success. They had a sellout at Vinyl, right? No longer the Hard Rock. Now it's Virgin Hotel.
Oh, okay.
The Casino and Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, so they took the guitar down today and they took it over to the graveyard where old attraction memorabilia is, like the old signage and stuff is in the graveyard. So now that's there, and it's now Virgin Hotel, but Vinyl is still on the inside. And they just had their first performance. They had sold it out, and we just debuted on Facebook the interview that I conducted with them earlier today. We turn it around like a television station, because that's what we are. We do it like television station, and the sound quality is platinum and the picture is golden. So no one can do it better. So listen. So for Black History Month, we're making history. Black History Month. The first 2 episodes of the film mag are up. Moving pictures, not just writing and everything. And we have interviews, all that. And then we did our first music segment again today with FCC Music Group. So that's rolling in the different division on Facebook. Then we got things happening on YouTube, on the Crazy on Dion channel. And then we have things going on the Crazy D Film Dude channel on IG. So we're expanding the platforms, and of course, you know, we have the Blog Talk. As a matter of fact, a lot of shows have populated the Blog Talk, and you go there, you search at blogtalkradio.com, you search Crazy D Radio, and all of it comes up, and you can watch and listen to your heart's desire. SoundCloud, we're there at SoundCloud, so we're constantly making history, Black history, all the time. No one can do it better. So like I told you before, the image is golden and the sound is platinum on everything that we do. It's gonna boom through your phone, it's gonna boom through your speakers, it's gonna boom through your car speakers, and the picture is just like that, crystal clear, if you want to say that. So now, let's get on something that's getting ready to happen this weekend. The Super Bowl, people, is getting ready to be played this weekend. Now, there's a lot of controversy going on with the Super Bowl. All of this, so not only do we see people in blackface and Klan hoods from over 25 years ago that are now running government who are in the Democratic Party, but then we have 45 that's in office that, you know, is running the office, and you know, he's kind of sympathetic to the cause.
He'll probably be at the Super Bowl.
White power. It appears to be, just my opinion on it. It appears to be, allegedly, you know, that he seems to be, you know, pretty much down with the cause of white power. Anyway.
Yeah, he'll probably be at the Super Bowl.
Or maybe Pence. Have you ever noticed how Pence looks at Trump? At first I thought that it was an act. At first I thought the way Pence looked at Trump was an act. He'll stand there, he'll look. It's like he's sitting there, he's so amazed. And at first I thought it was an act and he was just playing a role, but now I understand that he says he's getting everything past all of us who were grand wizards in Indiana believed in, allegedly, believed in white supremacy and all that. He's getting things passed and doing things and talking about immigrants, stuff that we would never have the guts as politicians to talk about, because regular politicians get their position stripped, like the guy in Virginia looks like he's gonna get his position stripped because standing there in black. But anyway, that's the battle between them. Like us, we know that most people are bigot. We know that most, like Shani had said earlier when we were having a phone conversation, that we know that most white folks have said the N-word. We know that. We're not shocked. The only people who are shocked are the people who think that this is one big kumbaya party. And you can't change the hearts of men, especially when they're in fear of being extinct. And that's, we've talked about that in others. So you got to go back and watch other episodes of the film review to get that information, because we keep moving forward. We can't keep moving back. We got to keep moving forward. All right. So now, the Super Bowl is being played this weekend, right? And so, it's a controversy because, Kaepernick, he kneeled, and then somehow he was unceremoniously moved out of the NFL, even though he's better than most of the quarterbacks that they have, getting the backup quarterbacks to be main quarterbacks in the league, who happen to be Caucasian, okay? He happens to be better than about 95% of those Caucasian quarterbacks, okay? So he did the kneeling thing, and did you know that the story just came out that the NFL put a survey out, a poll. They put a poll out to their fans.
Okay.
And the poll split along racial lines.
Okay.
Race lines, not racial. It's not racial. It's race lines.
So what did the poll say?
So the poll said most of the white fans who just so happen to also be, they threw Republican in there, but there's some Democrats too. But let's just take the political parties out.
Okay.
Most of the white fans said that the player should stand and should be penalized if they don't stand for the national anthem. And then the black fans said that what he was doing was the right thing, and that the fans should do it. So this is the controversy, and here we are. We're here. They just built that beautiful new stadium by Mercedes-Benz. Now, I hadn't seen the picture of the stadium, and then I saw the picture of the stadium, and I said, everybody's gonna wanna be in that stadium that they built just to watch people run up and down and catch the football like back in the day, watching them run on the plane. But that's a whole nother story, and we're moving. Okay, so listen. So the whole situation is, some people are thinking, okay, they purposely went to Atlanta because they know Atlanta is basically the black Mecca, unless there's a black guy that breaks out of the prison system, I guess almost over 10 years ago, and then next thing you know, you see all of the sheriffs and all that come from out the woodwork, and they're all Caucasian to hunt this guy down, all European Americans to hunt this guy down, right?
Shanine says, and most of them don't care about anyone standing. Let's see, they are just coming, against the black man standing. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So the people are there. So our entertainers are there. Our athletes are there from different sports, celebrating this game between the Patriots and the Rams, right? Now, there was a comedian on Instagram. It's very interesting here. There was a comedian on Instagram who had a post. You know how you can, on Instagram, you can double up pictures and things, or double up picture with video. You can do that. Well, he had the first picture that says, do you think that I'm still protesting the Super Bowl? And then you had to flip left to see the next image, and then it's a picture. It's a video of Deontay Wilder, heavyweight champion of the world, and he says, still to this day, you know, when he was talking to the reporter. And then I was flipping early this morning and I saw Dante Wilder at the Super Bowl saying he's there, he's going to enjoy the weekend, and he said still to this day he said the same thing and saying that he was still, you know, he was there. So I wrote Dante Wilder and I told him, I said, you know, I told him about the comedian, and then I told him, I said, but you know what? We don't think like we don't think monolithic.
Right.
We don't think as one whole. So
just like we didn't during slavery.
Right. So
Shanice, it says see more. So when you finish,
yeah, we'll see more. I'll see if I can push it without any detriment here. Oh, there.
Okay. Yeah, standing for something. They are just against a black man standing for something.
Right. So he's there. So I wrote him, I told him about the comedian, and then I told him, I said, but we don't think monolithic.
Right.
And so you're there. And so enjoy the Super Bowl, my brother. That's what I told him. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And I wasn't trying to be funny or snarky or anything like that, because here's my
being real.
Here's my take on it.
Right.
Here's my politic on it.
Right.
You're there. You're in Atlanta. You got a black mayor, black consul. It's the entertainment mecca. All of the black stars are there, basically.
Right.
All the people come in from different cities to come in there to get beats, to record, to do all that.
Right.
Why would you, as the black entertainment mecca, arguably the black entertainment, why would you allow there to be a Super Bowl where you're not represented? Why would you allow European American acts to come in to get the glory and not partake in the money that's going to be generated from off of side venues, right? So when I look at it, and so I'm looking at it in that aspect, and I say, well, make sure that you stack up and get that, because there's a lot of side parties that are going on. And the people who are performing, because they found out, they tried this. Now this is the stick on the NFL to me. They tried to get Maroon 5 within the arguably the black entertainment mecca to come perform, and there was no generation of any type of pump to it whatsoever, right? So they were trying to do that.
Says money,
right? Yeah. So they were trying to do that, trying to within the black entertainment mecca, they tried to bring one of the most milquetoast type of acts you get. Now they make good music. Don't get me wrong. Maroon 5 makes good music. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna listen to it, like in my opinion, the elevator, because it's now, it would be what you would call elevator music now. You know, it's not like they haven't had an album out in at least about 5 years. Has it been? I think it's been. I mean, we got to look that up, but I think it's been about 5 years. And did they drop a new album?
Yeah.
Can somebody check that for us? Has Maroon 5 dropped a new album within 5 years?
Yeah, I think like what, last year?
Last year they dropped the album?
Yeah,
I surely didn't hear about it.
I thought so.
I mean, I know that he's on The Voice. You know, I know he's on there,
I think
but
he has a song with, I think it's Cardi B on the song with him or something like that.
Cardi B is on the song?
I think so.
How's that doing?
Oh, Shani says that's because Jay-Z turned them down.
Well, you know, Jay-Z's not coming there for the okie doke.
He stands for something.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? Plus, he didn't like the way they kind of like backlash Beyonce when she came. You know, that's his bae, and you know, he's not gonna let them just backlash her.
But prior to Beyonce, they asked him to come.
Yeah, and he said no.
Right, and
Rihanna said no. Right? But you are in the entertainment mecca, black entertainment mecca, arguably. We know that racism and white supremacy goes on regardless because of insecure people within themselves. Are you gonna miss out on the bread just because these people are insecure? And whatever reason they did it, they had to then bow down. I always like to use the term bow down to the row. It always seems good. They had to bow down to the row and realize that they had to have black acts performing to even pump up the Super Bowl, because people were not enthused with, in my opinion, milk toast Maroon 5. But you know, Cardi B didn't.
Oh yeah, she pulled out too.
She
I
pulled
think.
out. I mean, she
I
had
don't
to
want
think
to say
about
the wrong thing because I don't know if she's doing any pre-shows or anything. So I don't know. I'm not sure on Cardi B, so I'm not gonna.
So you know, the way I see it, because I hadn't seen the stadium, and then I was like, why are they there? And then a person was telling me when I was filming an event today, it was like, they just built that new stadium. Would want to be involved. Everybody would want to be involved in being at the stadium.
Okay, I mean
That's just the way it is.
Shanine says, okay, Red Blue Pills in 2017. Okay, so they put out an album called Red Blue Pills in 2017.
2017.
Okay.
Is there a
Yeah, 2
hit?
years ago.
Is there a hit record?
Probably. I think
Okay,
that's
you were
the one
right.
with Cardi B.
About 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But Cardi B's not going to be there.
Well, I don't know. See, we don't know that. Do you know for sure?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know for sure. But that was the rumors, unless they're planning on making a surprise.
I mean, I don't know. I don't count. I mean, I know for a fact Jay-Z won't be there. I know Beyonce won't be there. Rihanna won't be there. So we know Meek Mills won't be there. So,
You know.
I don't know.
But so my politic is they're gonna go there and they're gonna get the money. The strip clubs are gonna be packed. The offset clubs with all the different acts are gonna be packed. The athletes are coming. They're having events. They're packing out black-owned restaurants. You know, the people's restaurants that are black-owned. are
Well,
gonna
okay,
pack
so
out.
you know what?
Go ahead.
That's Atlanta. So the restaurants and, like for instance, Candy Burris restaurant, her husband's restaurant, is always packed. It's so packed and all constantly selling out that they had to expand and they're opening up another restaurant, right?
Hopefully,
so
this
this
in
is
time for the Super Bowl.
But they don't need the Super Bowl. So my point is, because my family in Atlanta told me this, right? So it's like, and the strip clubs are always packed. So so it's not, you know, it's nice that they're gonna have a Super Bowl there, and it's more money. But I mean, I don't know. I just feel differently about it.
Okay.
I feel like if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think that we make excuses for people, you know, sometimes. And I mean, I don't know. You just sometimes have to stand for something. Like, it's so frustrating to see so many innocent people dying in the streets. But that's okay. We gonna go to the Super Bowl. Well, we can't change the world, okay? So we gonna go to the Super Bowl, and I'm just like over it, cause I'm invested. I'm invested because my people are dying, and friends and family members have had to deal with racism and you know, with my grandfather, he was a strong man, and he was one of the ones who did
With that.
stand his ground.
That's right, with that.
With the racists, you know,
And had to
and then so he stood his ground, and he said, you know what, I'm not dealing with this, and he left, and he, you know,
He was
did what he had to do.
Instrumental in bringing the whole family
up north.
one man.
Yeah,
Brought
not
the
just
whole
his
family.
family,
Right.
but immediate family, but like siblings and their children,
Right.
and help
Yeah,
moving
he
them
moved
up.
the whole.
Because he built a way, led way for them to.
He
and he went
constructed
to,
a way for them to move up north
he went,
and be successful.
Right, he went face to face with a Klansman, and he didn't lose. He lived a long, healthy life until his day was over. So that's just in my DNA. And that's what I love about Kendrick Lamar's song. But seriously, like, it's in my DNA. I'm not built for that type of bullshit. I'm not. And I just think that literally when we go as far back as our ancestors, like the one guy, what is it, Finding Your Roots on PBS? Skip Gates, yeah. And then I noticed when he looks at the lineage of like the various people, the celebrities. Well, originally the show started off with just everyday people, and then he moved on to celebrities, right? And Shanine says, someone said, why boycott the NFL when we have black players? I just shook my head. What if they just walked out together? The black players are there doing their job. So they're doing their job, right? Okay, so not talking about them. And people say, what about the black players? And when they say that, I'm thinking like, this is apples and oranges. Like, they're doing their job. You don't have to be on stage performing.
Well,
but first, let me finish saying.
Go ahead, finish.
But okay, so with Skip Gates, he interviewed, was it Oprah Winfrey, right? And come to find out, her ancestors were educators and teachers. And then the other, one of the actors, can't think of his name, but from Saturday Night Live, one of his ancestors was a performer. So, you watching, seeing this pattern of what's the lineage, what's in the DNA, right? Mm-hmm. So, I already know my ancestors wasn't for the shits, right? I have no doubt none of my ancestors was one of the ones saying, Massa, I heard they about to break out. I heard they trying to run. It's just not in my DNA. So, it is what it is. The people that's at the Super Bowl, hey, have a good time.
But we have never.
Whatever. It's just not in my DNA. I love my people too much.
It's like this. It's like, we know that the government is one of the most racist entities, organizations, structures out there, but people still run to go get that good government job. So we are in a situation where we know what's going on, but at the same time, we make concessions. We make concessions every day as a people. So,
like what?
If we were totally disagreeable with what's happening, we would just shut it down and not do anything. Shut it down. Okay. And when we shut it down, it would be like a government shutdown, because it would be no one there to do the work, because we know that black women are some of the most educated who hold these positions, and then black males are the second most educated in this. So that makes us the most educated people, because they kept pushing on us education. Education. If you get this education, you do it. So we are filling these slots. Right? And if we stopped, if we were really totally fed up, it would be shut down, it would be stopped, it wouldn't be any movement whatsoever, and then there would be, so that's just like the athletes, where they say, how come the athletes don't walk? If the athletes walk off the field, they don't have enough European American athletes to play the game.
Okay, see,
That would be interesting to the people because they like to see in football. They like to see the velocity and the hits and the velocity and the speed come from.
You know what? I don't like understand like people's logic. Like sometimes I don't even entertain people sometimes because it's kind of like those athletes. That's their job, right?
But we're talking. But I'm
just
equating
saying,
it to
listen,
it. Okay.
Athletes, that's their job. They're going to work, right? So that whether it's football, hockey, golf, whatever, that's their job, right? Travis Scott does not have to perform at the Super Bowl, right?
A legend.
He can perform on multiple other stages. He chose to. So that's the difference. Like, if you don't have a choice in, you know, if your only platform is, okay, I'm an athlete, my job is to play in the stadiums. They don't have a choice, right? But Travis Scott has a choice which stages he's going to perform on. That's just like the teams, you know, when they win a championship, whether it be baseball, football, hockey, tennis, football, whatever. They have a choice when they win their championship if they want to go to the White House or not. Some go to the White House, some don't, right? So you have a choice. So that, I mean, to me, that's like apples and oranges, and I don't even like entertain that with people. You know, and then that's just like, oh, well, people get up and go to work every day. Well, hell yeah, they do, because they have to make a living. I mean, so what? Like, if you don't go, it's not going to shut down anything, because then they're going to bring in somebody else to do the job. So it's just like, you know. Shanine says, let's see. Sorry, replace black government workers quick, fast. True. Yeah, you know, that's being done now, you know, but with their cousins and relatives and next door neighbors or whoever. I mean, so I don't think the thing is just my thing is everything is just like it's a screen, what is it called? It's just like a smoke screen, right? We need to focus on, okay, like the Super Bowl, whatever, fine, Maroon 5s, they're going to perform, whatever. Who cares, right? But what about, like, right now? What about the candidates who are running for office? We need to be focusing on our platform and agenda. Actually, we do have one already. There is a platform for Black Americans. There's a platform.
Yeah, we don't want to be played. We don't want to be victims of
so there is
the invasion of the body snatchers. So,
but there is a platform already of, you know, black people here. Everyone has a platform, you know. Different groups, right? They take their platform to the president, and so like we need to focus on that. We shouldn't get so excited just because we see people of color running for office. Because so we need more than just you to be the same shade as us. We need for you to bring an agenda to the table, just like other groups bring agendas to the table to propel their group forward. Everyone does it. Like, you know, I'm like, I don't want to see you just dancing and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so I don't need entertainment. If I want to see entertainment, I'll turn on my television.
Watch the Super Bowl halftime show.
Okay, well, I won't be doing that.
Okay. So, politics, people. You didn't know Kamala Harris.
Oh, Shanine says Kamala and Corey won't get my vote. That's what Shanine says. Okay. Nina Turner gets my vote.
Yes, Nina Turner for those who you need to get caught in, you might see her on CNN. She used to be on MSNBC, but you know she's
Sometimes
a little
she goes
strong.
back and forth.
She goes
Mostly
back
on
and forth.
CNN.
But CNN now, you know, when you go to Crazy on Dion page on YouTube, I conducted an interview with her. It was more like a dialogue, but I conducted an interview with her.
Right.
Probably it's been about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, maybe more.
And she spoke at Shinene's son's graduation.
That's right. And so, you go back there and you look up the interview, Crazy D interviews Nina Turner.
Yeah, she was a surrogate for Bernie Sanders. She stumped from him the time all over television. Breakfast Club. You can also see her on the Breakfast.
Yeah, but go there and see her on there, and you can see the interview, and you can see her message. Her message has not changed. It is only broad. It's broadened out to larger audiences, but her message is the same. It is the message that can win the presidential election.
What I love,
and not that she has to become something.
She doesn't pander to anybody.
She is organically and is a black woman.
Right.
Already, she doesn't have to transform into this and say I love a certain group and not really realize that the group member has passed on and okay, here's what we were having lunch today and we were talking about it, and I was saying, okay, just humanistic thought process here, just being humanistic. Your mother and father divorced when you're 7 years old. You see your father no more, right? You move up into Canada and you don't live a quote unquote black life. You live the culture of your mother, right? And when people research that culture, you see that culture, even with people who were Gandhi-esque or Gandhi, they have some stumped down, bigoted, white supremacy thought processes towards black people. Facts. So then when you come, then you go to Howard, then you pledge. Right. And all of a sudden you get your black bona fides, right? How long are we going to worry about the person being black? And what I mean by this is, okay, why do we have to keep on getting these people who fictitiously turn black? Let's go back to Obama. So I'm gonna tie this all together. Let's go back to Obama. Now I don't know, was Obama were they married? Or was this just something that they fooled us on, like he went back to study and then somehow it didn't work out? It's never ever discussed if, I never read the book because I got disgusted around like the third year of his presidency. He's not doing anything, but we were waiting out, okay, when he gets to the next 4 years. But it's just like if you start a go-kart.
Hell, our dentist was upset he was white.
You start your go-kart and if you don't rev it up early, it's gonna put along when you want to do it. So you got to rev the engine. So his engine didn't rev in the next 4. It didn't rev up, right? So President Obama, were they really married? But anyway, they separated, and he lived in a that's what it was. It was a Caucasian environment with Caucasian values, with Caucasian culture. Boom. These two people together. Look at this.
Connection.
Look. They cut the feed on us for a little bit once we got to this. So let's take these two people. Obama's people moved off. His father moved. Kamala Harris, they divorced. They split apart. Let's take these two people. Just humanistic thinking. Just being human. can you really love a concept or another person that embodies what has hurt you? Can you love a group of people who embody what has hurt you? Could Obama really relate to black males when the black male in his life hurt him? Can Kamala Harris really relate to black males when the person who was supposed to be the father figure walked away and you never saw him again? I mean, can you really do that? Can you really do that?
Shanine says, I don't think they were married. His father's whole family lives in Kenya.
Right. So in other words, he was translation, he was an African that came over that just wanted to experience him, a white woman, because he had been seeing the movies. And have you ever noticed that the white directors portray their women in some of the most sluttiest, low down, degrading ways in film? And when people who are in the country and people who come from out the country, the first thing they want to do is experience that, because they say our women are more dignified, and we'll come experience that and then go back home and leave it. So was it that he came, he said, I wanted to experience a white woman, and he got there, he said, oh, this isn't as what I thought, so I'm just gonna go back home and forget me dropping the seed?
Shanine says you can, but I'm sure they have resentment.
Right, and that's my point. So when you look at what President Obama really did, like his initiative with the kids.
My Brother's Keeper, but that was for all groups.
Exactly.
Right. That wasn't specifically geared towards Black Americans.
That's right. And when you would see the group, you would see Hispanic, you would see Asian, you might see a couple of black students trickled in there, but for the most part, and these are males.
Right. And white males too.
But he was pushing for everybody, not just black males. So that is not something that was just for black males. So that is, to me, a clue to the fact that you cannot love what hurt you, what abused you. And Kamala Harris cannot really love what hurt and abused you, especially if you're in a culture that's anti-black. Their sentiment is anti-black, and then when you find out that there are certain situations that were happening in while she was Attorney General in California.
Right. Shanine says his mom saw that he was going to be a PhD and wanted to lock him down. Oh, Shanine, you speak the truth.
And he on the other hand saw her and said, hey, this isn't what I expected. I'm going back home to go get me a nice African girl that just doesn't give it up, because this fantasy that they put up of the Caucasian female is not what it's all cracked up to be. So I'm going back home, and this is what it is, and that's the resentment. So can you actually love what has hurt you? And I don't think they can. And subconsciously or consciously, they act upon it when they're in governments, and that is why we should not look at Kamala Harris just because of her skin tone, or her, because actually
just be objective and just
look at her record. Look at her record, and then you can see that her upbringing and her hurt, in my opinion, affects the way that she would govern towards people who are traditionally put at the bottom of the totem pole, because all she talks about is immigrants. She thinks more about immigrants, than she thinks about. Okay, wait a minute. So let's talk about immigrants for a minute. African immigrants, not necessarily in particular, but let's talk about them. We had Abdullah Abdullah. He got the plunger up his butt by the police, right? By the
Shanice
NYPD.
says, I have biracial friends who have been through the same things. She said it's on the individual. Yeah, so.
Okay, no. Biracial here, where there's where there's a black American,
Native blacks. That's the best term.
Okay, Native blacks and a Native white who have been through this struggle. That people have been through this struggle is different than immigrants coming from and then partaking and then trying to find a way to stay, or saying, "Oh, I partook, didn't like it, I'm going back." Difference. There's a difference there.
Those who, because there's no ties, some may feel, I don't understand why you Negroes can't get it together. What's going on with Kaepernick? He should be grateful.
Especially if you come from shanty shacks. If you come and you see the projects that they pushed black people in when they moved up north, those who couldn't afford to get individual standalone housing, right?
She says, I get it. Yeah.
If you see how they push them into the project, when they come here, they come from shanty shacks. Okay. Steel grades on top of stuff, making shacks. They say this is paradise, and so you Negroes have it bad. So they give them. But anyway, let's look at this. I believe that because a lot of immigrants now, they have, when you watch the news, they have a lot of immigrants who are black, like taking the place. It's like the invasion of the body snatchers. It's like they're taking the place of original black people here. What did you call it?
Oh, native blacks.
Native blacks. The native black people who were here since 1619, because this is the 400 years of being taken from 1619 to 2019. That's 400 years. We are now within 400 years of the initial thing, but some people take it back to 1554. That's when the first boats were going over, and they were dropping off and things over the different parts of right. So go research that, find it out. We got to keep moving. Now, there was the other immigrant guy who got shot up. He pulled his wallet out. They shot 143 times to hit him.
In New York, right?
Yeah, 43 times, right? If I was a black immigrant, right? Just using common sense, like take Abwima Diablo, I think that's his name, who took the plunger, right? They knew from his accent that he was not black American. They knew that. Native. They took him and they plunged him, and they took the plunger and stuck it in his. That's what they said. Stuck it in him and then stuck it in his mouth. Stuck it in his rectum. Stuck him in his mouth. He was looking all messed up.
Just heinous.
If I were an immigrant, black immigrant, that we who have been here since 1619, our lineage go back that far, who suspect that they are coming here to replace us in the struggle. If I were an immigrant, black, I would look at all of the different times that immigrants have been abused, murdered, right? But yet they say you're coming here and you're different than the black people here, right? But they still abuse you and kill you up, and they know that you're not native black because you have an accent.
And your driver's license.
But yet...
Shanice says the guy with the wallet was said African too.
That's what I said. That's what I'm saying. So if I were an immigrant, black immigrant, I would look at it and say, well, this is racism, and no matter how high up I get, because remember, you may come through, but then your kids are going to be the second generation, and they're going to come through, and of course, because black people, native black people in America create everything that pushes across the world, and hip-hop is the number one influence globally. The way we walk, the way we talk, the way we dress, the way we experience life, the natural rhythm that we have, right? They're going to want to assimilate to that, because the milquetoast that they will see on the other side is not interesting. Plus, they will be treated like dung on the other side, because no matter how exceptional they're supposed to be, because they are not so-called American black or native black, they're supposed to be exceptional. No matter how exceptional they are considered, they still have one thing. They have that melanin, and that melanin destroys people who can wipe out and annihilate those through sex that are not do not have melanin. This is the way it is. They won't see themselves anymore. So no matter how you cut this, so plus they come from being colonized. Colonization and slavery is the same thing. It's just that they came over to your land and colonized you, but they brought other people over to another land and enslaved them. But it's still the same thing, same practices, maybe different names, but they divide people up by color. They abuse you, whip you, lynch you, draw and quarter you, tar and feather you, cut off different body parts.
Right.
They do. It's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. And for people to come over and think that they're going to have a better shake someplace else, like black people realize, just common sense, that if you go someplace else, like if we were to go back to Africa, right? I mean, or not go back, because our place is America. Right. What I'm saying is, if we were to travel
now,
over to Africa,
not everybody can. Well,
no,
original person.
Right.
Original.
That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, let's say that we go to Africa to get land and stuff. Right. We have common sense to realize that going there will be certain obstacles and certain difficulties, right? And for people to come to the United States as black immigrants and not realize there's going to be certain obstacles and difficulties are totally dumb, deaf, and blind. My opinion. What's going on, Ali Star? What's going on? I see you chiming in, watching here. So that's the point of that. I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm gonna table that right there. That we have common sense to realize that we go to another country within a whole nother continent, that there will be difficulties and stumbling blocks, right? And situations that we may not be able to overcome. And so for immigrants that come to the United States and think that their life is going to be different if they choose to try to stay away from black people, and this is my point. I'm going to table that part right there, because common sense tells you there's going to be situations that you cannot overcome. Table that right there. So my point is, since you're on TV now, and you're basically like the invasion of the body snatchers, and you're taking the place of native black people who were here, and you didn't. It's the funniest thing, because before Trump got in office, when President Obama was in office, these people, I would wonder why their opinions were so much different than varying than the traditional black thought, right? And then I started finding out that they're hiring black immigrants, right? who are maybe second generation who came up, however they came
Whose
up.
thoughts? Like
I'm talking about the commentators, the talking heads.
Okay.
Their thoughts are different, right?
Okay.
They'll say something like well, black people need to get up off of the welfare. Well, black people wouldn't say you need to get off the welfare because we realize that there's more European Americans on welfare than black people.
Statistics.
Yeah.
Statistics
But
shows
when you're an immigrant or second generation immigrant, and the people who pass you through
Right.
pump that black people are only ones that's on welfare, and then you
Right.
get on TV and you say that. But however, it's the funniest thing to see the invasion of the body snatchers now have to sit up on TV and say white supremacy and racism. Why? Because they are experiencing this, and this is
Shanice is very true.
this is what's going on. They are experiencing it now, and now they have to sit up there and start saying white supremacy and racism. So, being that they have you on TV, Native black people need to just go on ahead and let them battle it out, because they have to be here if they want to invade.
Right.
Then go ahead and pick up the mantle and start fighting it out, because you're gonna have to fight it out, because no matter what, as long as you got that melanin in your skin,
Right.
you're gonna fight it out. All right. So now,
Fire, right?
yeah, we're gonna talk about Fyre. But first, before we get to Fyre, let's go to the Virginia governor with the blackface from
Oh my
25 years
gosh.
ago. Okay, so this guy is wearing blackface. This is another situation. He
could be wearing a hood.
Or he could be wearing a hood, but the body type and the facial look to me looks
Fits
like he's the one.
in the
But he
blackface.
says he can't remember if he was in the blackface or if he was in the Klan's hood, but the page was about him.
Yeah, just own up to
Just own up
what
to
you
it.
do.
Just say
he
just
should have
say-
apologized. You know, it was a mistake. I didn't mean to do it. Keep it moving.
But he was a
Not that it
medical-
wouldn't matter.
He was a medical
course.
practitioner
Yeah.
servicing black patients.
Yeah, but that FBI report when Obama was in office, remember, and it stated that there are a lot of Klansmen and other white supremacists, and most of the profession, doctors and lawyers and dentists, and I mean, just like everyday life kind of blended in. So it's not
Right.
surprising
Right.
that the governor, of Virginia would be in blackface, or I mean, it's disappointing.
And can
but
you, as a person that has melanin, and that person is a white supremacist, trying to make sure that he doesn't go say, can you trust the prescriptions and the services they give you? Can you trust their hand when they're cutting you open? Can you trust that? So that's the question right there. And so that's what was brought up. Nina Turner was on,
right,
and she was on with Don Lemon.
right.
It's funny, like Don Lemon, to me, my opinion, he's down with the LGBTQ or LLBG, whatever, A through Z. He's down with that, right? And usually he didn't have to talk about race, but this has gradually started to ratchet up under Obama. More murders of black men, more assaults on black women by police officers than any other time before, right? And so he had to ratchet up. Now he was cool and he was safe, but now even he has to sit up and talk about race. It's the funniest thing. It's the funniest thing that this insecurity that white folks have about the majority turning over by 2040 and all that, you got to get over it, because the people who are there to run who it was beat into them to run the country are going to be within the majority.
Shanice says She says on her job they fired a woman. She said at the county for being a part of a KKK subgroup.
You see there? You see there? So, and this is really, if I were a white supremacist, I would just use common sense, right? I'm bringing over, first of all, let's dispel something real quick. The Pan-African movement was in America and went over to Africa to incorporate Africa and to bring them over to get educated. We had to fight first to get the civil rights. So somewhere the European American co-opted it, and then the people who come through now only see white faces and think it's the white faces that were behind them coming into this country, when that is not true, right? So back to, if I were a white supremacist, I would just use this. I would rather deal with people taking over who were whipped into shape to take it over than to deal with those who are uncommon denominator. Because I don't know, okay, you're coming in and you're telling me this, and I think I'm passing you through, you're going to be a certain way. But when they get fed up, they're the uncommon denominator. You don't know how they're going to react and what they're going to do and what they're going to do to you. But you pretty much know what your homegrown native black people will do. They pretty much say, kumbaya, but those people who are coming over have a certain pride level because they think they're better. And if they're coming over and they're getting education and they see themselves over the whites in the country that they're coming to, then they're going to say, well, why am I going to take this? And sooner or later, they're going to rebel, and then your whole situation is going to fall apart. So it's silliness and stupidity around the board. So that's just food for thought right there. If I were, but really, let it collapse. That's what I say. Okay, now people, did you see
on Netflix?
Did you see on Netflix? So we're gonna table that right there. Yeah. Let that stay. Let people take that as they may. Right? Of course, we don't want it to topple because this is the only thing we know, and we got some. It's supposed to be our time to run this. So we don't want it to go away and dissolve and fall apart, but let's table it right there. If they keep doing this invasion of the body snatcher stuff, then invasion of body snatcher scheme that they're doing, then let it fall. But anyway, so now, did you see the documentary on Netflix, people?
Fyre, was it Fyre Festival?
Yeah, the Fyre Festival. Did you see this on Netflix? You know, all this is coming out around the same time. It's really interesting that it will come around Black History Month. You know, it's been out for about a couple of weeks, but we finally got a chance to see it. So, the Fyre Festival.
Yeah.
So it's about.
Shani says they don't remember apartheid.
Well, some of us don't remember apartheid in America called segregation. But they would remember theirs, but not remember ours because they weren't here.
Right.
And their living conditions were worse than our living conditions because they didn't. Okay, there we go. We're back, people. When you're saying something they don't want you to hear, they cut the connection. Listen. They wouldn't. Their conditions were different, and we had people fighting since Harriet Tubman, since Sojourner Truth, since Frederick Douglass. All these people coming through a lineage of fighting the struggle to see us have fair living conditions and all that. So they didn't have that because
Moses,
right, because they were colonized and they didn't have that. Whereas we came here and said, hey, we were here, we built this, and we gonna get something from this. So our mentalities are different. That's the worrying point about immigrants coming over who were colonized, who only remember their history from the year that the country was colonized, whereas we as black people go back further than just when we were enslaved. See the difference? That's a different mentality there. Okay, so now Fyre, people. Documentary. It's about this guy. He's
well done.
Well, yeah, it's well done, well shot, well documented. Even a brother got some footage in there at the end of the film. Beautiful work. So look, it's about a man who seems to be a marketing promotional genius. He comes up with the initial company. He comes up with this card that you can transfer your MasterCard or Visa card over to, and it's like metal, but it also gets you into different functions that they hold, right? So this is where what
you're talking about fits what Shanine said also previously, as well as it fits what we're talking about now. She says land of milk and honey, false narratives. Yeah, that also fits the Fyre Festival.
So this is a perfect example of how there's a through line in the story of a European American and how they will lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say, just for not all, people say not all, but the ones who push to be powerful and important, in my opinion, they will lie. Okay? This is what this story is about. So listen. So he comes up with this, but then all of a sudden, somehow, his whole situation starts. He meets up with Ja Rule. And how he meets up with Ja Rule is he's trying to get Ja Rule for one of the parties. And he goes on Instagram and he finds one guy. Then the one guy charges him a fee. Then the next guy that he hooks him, the guy that he found hooks him up with, charges him another fee. And so he pays this, but then finally somehow they don't ever really tell you how he got in contact with Ja Rule. But he gets in contact with Ja Rule. Okay? So then
maybe through the friend, you remember?
Maybe not. But they really, it was kind of convoluted right there.
50 Cent would have never fallen for this.
Okay, listen. So
he's a businessman.
So Ja Rule. So what happens is now he moves on from his one company, and then he goes into producing a brand that's internet based that would be able to connect people who are looking for certain artists. You could contact them straight through this website, this brand called Fyre. And that is the initiating event, the creation of this website, right? And Ja Rule is excited. He comes in, it appears, as a partner. They really don't really say, but you seem like he's a partner in doing this, or maybe he's going to be just like the figurehead. Who knows, right? So they go vacationing off of the coast of Florida, and they happen to fly over an island that used to be owned by Pablo Escobar. And they're looking at the island because they're in one of those Cessnas, right? It appears a Cessna property. And they decide they're looking, and there's a landing strip there, and they say, well, we don't see anybody, no one to radio to. So they just land on the strip. They see the land, and they say, this would be a perfect place to have a party that could help promote and push the Fyre brand. Now let's back up for a minute. Now the Fyre brand, as a brand of being able to go on there and connect with any artist that you want to connect with, that you could go connect straight to their management from there and not have middle people who, I know him, the homeboy hookup or unnecessary stuff. That as a brand is a beautiful thing. And I thought in the film that if he had just worked on the brand and made it $1 billion brand, then you could go off and have a festival, right? But he didn't do that. But what you find out later in the film is that the dude appears to be a scammer. And that's what we're going to leave it right there. You
really
have
good.
to see this film. So no matter,
Well
even though it seemed like it was a great branding and a great brand concept,
Right.
it seems like the guy was always scamming. So go watch the film. It's on Netflix. It's called Fyre, the Fyre Festival or something, or the
Fyre
end of
spelled with Fyre,
Fyre, right? You know, it's you have to go watch that film, right? And then another doc on Netflix.
Wait, before we leave the Fyre Festival,
Okay.
when you watch the documentary, if you haven't seen it already, what really jumped out to me is towards the end when everything hits the fan, you know, regarding the festival.
Yeah, but I want to leave.
And kind of listen to what Ja Rule says.
Listen to the meeting.
Right.
Listen to what
During the
happens
meeting.
in the meeting.
Yeah,
right?
I was shocked.
At the end, and
Yeah.
you'll see. You know, is there a difference between the two words, or is it the same thing? Okay, so we're gonna move on from that. So another show to watch is Killer Mike.
Oh, great show.
Killer Mike.
When would
has
you
a
give Fyre Island? No, you
six
didn't.
Ever, Fyre Island. I would give it the way that they told the story,
Right.
the way that it leads in, and how they do flashbacks.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a 10.
Yeah, I would give it a 10 also.
As far
Well
as
done.
the people that were involved,
Right.
I have to give them, in my opinion, a 0. And you'll see why when you watch it. A 0 when you watch the documentary. So what would you rate it?
I would give it a 10. The documentary was well done. The timing, like the time
Pacing.
the pacing was great. You know, the informative from beginning to end. You know,
It keeps you gripped.
it keeps you gripped.
Because it's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's a mystery about the guy
Yeah.
throughout it, and then
And
as
more
the
and more
onion starts to
revealed,
peel back, it's like,
right.
wow, really?
Yeah, and then you just see the behind the scenes, you know, like with Ja Rule,
And
as
then at
well
the
as the
end-
models. You know, you see a lot of famous models, you know, also a part of it, and you know, it's good. It's a good documentary, so I would give it a 10. Now, Killer Mike's documentary,
That's right. Which is
Excellent.
called Trigger.
yeah,
Something Trigger.
yeah, Trigger,
I can't
yeah.
remember the name because we weren't set up to talk about it, but being that we were talking
Excellent.
about it. Excellent 6-part
Yeah,
document.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what a documentary is. It's a document that is put in moving picture film. So it's a document, 6 document. The first episode, he talks about buying all black, everything, black everything, and you see his struggle in just moving right over to Athens, Georgia, where there's a concert, and trying to find black-owned establishments that use black-produced products. It's a real interesting episode, the first episode. And then another episode that all the episodes are interesting, but we want to tell you, once you get to Cripocola,
They really good.
right?
Really good. All of them are so good. It's worth seeing. Excellent, well done.
And then creating your own, creating a new religion.
Right.
You have to watch that one. And then creating your
Tracey,
own, your own new, community, government.
Trade schools, just everything. It's just a twist.
Yes.
And his documentary is very thought-provoking. Like each episode is about something different, and each episode makes you think, you know. So yeah, Shanice says deep. Yeah, he is deep.
So
really good.
If his appearance on the Breakfast Club a couple of days ago didn't spark your interest in this, we don't know what's going on with you, but get there to Netflix and dial this up and watch Killer Mike's thing. It's called Trigger. You know, so get there and watch that, because that is just awesome, well put together, and it then again sparks your brain and says, hey, here's a new aspect, a new thought process moving through to advance us forward. I think in closing, as we're doing the first episode for Black History Month, you know what I mean, February, remember, whenever you see the hashtag BHM 2019, that's us. That's always Black History Month. That's us. 2019, Black History Month 2019, BHM 2019 hashtag in the front. That's us. We're posting always because we're making history. As we're doing these, right?
Shanice says, gotta tell Javante Hicks about this.
Yeah.
Deshaun Hicks.
So,
he'll enjoy it.
Yeah, he will enjoy
Trigger.
it. So, as we're creating and making history, Black history within Black History Month, make sure that you go watch the first 2 episodes of the film review, movies, music, culture, politics, and society film magazine on Crazy D Film Dude Instagram. So go there and then click over to the channel, or just go Instagram.com/Crazy D Film Dude /channel, and then you'll be able to watch the first 2 episodes. And then, you know, as we branch out and do different formats, we're on Facebook with the first music culture segment, which again features FCC music group, which is Miles Lowe, Vic Smith, and Noise, who is the producer. We did an extensive interview with them today. You know, as usual, Crazy D comes, he edits up the fastest, the best. No one can do it better. Picture is golden, sound quality is platinum, comes out faster, comes out like what we are. We fully filmed, able to come in, bring the sound, make it happen. And you're gonna notice that we got the 4 mic hookup, where you're right there with the people, because you know, every time Crazy D walks out, he always advances, because I advance for my people. This is what you have to understand. I do this, I do it because I have a pride in myself as being a black man, right? But I advance because I want my people to be seen, heard, recognized, and appreciated. And that's what we do here. So you got the Facebook, go watch that. You got the Instagram, you got the Black Ice Chronicles on LordlandFilms.com. That's the website. I mean, it's just so many things to watch. It's so much history that has been done just by LordlandFilms.com. So, you know, this will be number 44 of the film review. Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, and Society by the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D, and we review culture in movies, music, politics, society, etc., etc., etc. So this will be number 40. So this is more history being done. There is no one that is more prolific than Lord Land Films right now, with the beautiful lighting, where you are seeing her, recognized, and appreciated, because we do it not for ego, but we do it for our people. No one can do it better. So as we close out, this has been a robust conversation. Thanks, Shanine, for chiming in, and all those that stopped in to watch and everything. So go back and watch this, because we kicked some knowledge there. And then when you watch it, make sure you put in the comments, you know what I'm saying, what you think. And then of course you'll see the green screen when we turn it into Blackwood Magic. When we turn it around, you'll see the film review logo on the back, right? So we're out for right now. This is the first broadcast for Black History Month. We'll see you later. Now we'll see you later today with some reviews of new films that we go to see. You know what I mean? And we are out of here. And this has been the film review.
Advertise on shows produced by LordlandFilms.com. Advertise on shows produced by LordlandFilms.com. Advertise on shows produced by LordlandFilms.com.
The film review, movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind, brought to you by LordlandFilms.com. The hosts, Crazy D and Tracey Dion. All music heard on the film review available on iTunes, Apple Music. Live stream recording and audio, Crazon Dion. Research on topics, Tracey Dion. The film review, movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. All rights reserved. LordlandFilms.com. Copyright 2019.